Most teams right now are roughly 30 games into the season, which means pretty shortly we'll be approaching the halfway mark. That also means there's still tons of basketball left to be played, and the MVP race is entirely unclear up to this point. However, what is clear, other than the fact that I cursed Luka Doncic, is that there's more than a few legitimate candidates, and in today's video, we'll aim to dissect exactly what's in their case thus far, in no particular order by the way. LeBron James. As the great prophet Mark Phillips once exclaimed, he's 36. However, it's unfair to boil his entire case down to age, because he's carrying a lot more than that. With his current averages of 26 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds on 50% from the field and 38% from 3, which is his highest mark since Miami, he's quite easily the best 36-year-old NBA player ever, and still the best player in today's NBA. The Lakers are relaxing near the top of the Western Conference on their journey to title defense with a record of 22-7, and this comes with a surprising reduction in Anthony Davis's output. Not only has he not been quite as dominant as usual when he's on the floor, he's now also off of it for maybe the next month or so. LeBron has already got the stats, record, and narrative to rake in his 5th MVP, and with a large question mark now occupying the space where AD used to be, if the Lakers continue on even a similar pace without him, there's no doubt LeBron's MVP stock will rise, with a great chance of it separating him from a field that's currently pretty crowded. Stephen Curry, the former Golden Boy. He is absolutely shattering expectations, as has become a common theme throughout his career, and he's put his early season detractors on mute. After losing KD, Clay, and the supporting cast that once lifted Golden State to glory, people swore this was the year he'd be exposed, that he simply would not be able to produce even nearly the same with the teams finally being able to lock in on him. Curry has responded by posting a line fairly close to his unanimous MVP year, and the Warriors are currently a fringe playoff team in the West because of it, with a record that would actually place them 4th in the Eastern Conference. This comes as James Wiseman misses time, Draymond Green joined the season late, and the task being to make it work with both young and average players. Curry is basically doing 50-40-90 with 30 points a game despite having to be really crafty to get his shots off. No Klay Thompson gravity, constant double teams, and he's possibly playing the most impressive basketball of his career. The one roadblock to Curry picking up what would be his 3rd MVP trophy is obviously the record. It seems like most people understand that it is in no way the norm for guys to win the way Russell Westbrook did 4 years ago when he had to break a sacred record while carrying a lottery projected team to do so. Curry putting up his former MVP numbers in the play-in range on the bracket won't get him there, but if he's able to kick it up to around the 4th seed, this race will become excruciatingly difficult to choose from. The process is possibly reaching its final stages, with Joel Embiid persevering through many early health problems to become a leading MVP candidate. Philly has held the best record in the Eastern Conference for most of the season, and Embiid is putting up a 30-point double-double on 54% shooting and 40% from 3 as a big man. While his case is fairly straightforward, he's got a potentially serious problem in a race that may finish tight: load management. He's currently missed 6 games, and it appears he's going to regularly miss time throughout the season to prevent overuse, or as the Sixers constantly list, rest his back. If a team has another candidate that finishes with a similar record to the Sixers, while said player barely missed any games at all, that may become the deciding factor. He has yet to play over 64 games in a season throughout his career, and given that there's 10 less games than normal in 2021, he's very much on pace to continue that trend. His case is strong, but may become lighter as the season drags on. Jokic is another name that's been featured near the top 4 most of the season, despite his team's current 15-12 record. However, he's also arguably been the best offensive player in the league, and the Nuggets have seen their own fair share of hardship with guys in and out of the lineup. At this point, people are wondering what's separating his situation from Curry's, and it's probably the fact that he's averaging nearly a 27-point triple-double on 50% from the field and 39% from 3. It's also the shock and awe of a center running his team's offense like a guard, making him likely the only big man in the league you could ask that of. Still, when it comes time to officially vote, yes, a 7th-seeded Nuggets team simply would not be able to cut it in this race, and it's beginning to look like the best they'll be able to do is a 4th place finish. That being said, he does an incredible amount for this Nuggets team, and like the Warriors, they simply would not be anything close to competitive without the production coming from their best player. Kawhi Leonard is getting relatively no MVP buzz compared to his production this season, and it's likely because of the epic meltdown the Clippers suffered in last year's playoffs. AKA, they still owe us a playoff series against the Lakers, and nobody cares how good they are in the regular season anymore. That being said, he is putting up 27, 6, 5, 2 steals, and shooting 51% overall with 39% from 3. Of course, you're getting your regular dose of Kawhi defense as well. The Clippers are also right there with the Lakers fighting at the top of the West at a 21-8 record. And, like LeBron, Kawhi has also lost his second best player for an unknown amount of time. Before the Paul George toe issue, he'd likely been playing the best basketball of his career and would have certainly cut into Kawhi's MVP case. But again, like the Lakers, depending on how long that that co-star is gone and how they do without him, it could provide that needed boost to separate himself from the pack. There's many factors that need to be played out to determine who would finish higher out of he and LeBron, but they have very similar opportunities. Kevin Durant obviously had more in his case at the beginning of the season, but at the current point in time, he's really fighting an uphill battle to make it all happen. Before James Harden, KD was having the most incredible comeback from an Achilles injury the league has ever seen. He was even receiving a possible boost by the random disappearance of Kyrie Irving. Now, not only is he one piece of the most offensively talented big three the league has ever known, he keeps getting nicked random games due to smaller injuries and COVID protocols. He's only appeared in 19 of the 30 games the Nets have played. The comeback narrative is great, but the big three narrative may be stronger. It'd be extremely difficult to imagine him winning it with two other star players in their primes flanking him, especially when other teams couldn't afford to miss their star player for a single game. He's up for consideration, but by the time the season is over, unless he keeps up best player in the league pace and the Nets record turns out to be immaculate, he probably won't be looking at even a second place finish. The final player I'm going to mention, because I believe this list should be held to players that I think could truly end up winning it, is Damien Lillard. First off, fans gave up on the Blazers in the first week of the season, citing their defense as an overwhelming issue. And then, multiple players on the roster saw injuries, including his co-star CJ McCollum, who was having a career year. The Blazers currently sit at 17-10, and since the injury have gone 9-4. Lillard, meanwhile, boasts averages of 29 points, 7 assists, 38% from 3 with a 52% effective field goal percentage. Once again, he's keeping a Blazers team afloat that's been slated to sink for quite some time now. Of course, he's not playing the best basketball on this list, and he's also likely going to have the Blazers around a 4 or 5 seed at best when it's all said and done. In a race with so many valuable candidates, I doubt it's going to cut it, but he absolutely deserves more recognition in this race than he's getting, as the Blazers regularly do better than they're expected to on his behalf. So all in all, he's got the production and even the narrative, but at this specific point, I don't think it's stronger than some of the other candidates have. That is, however, where this list will end. Giannis nor the Bucks are on the correct pace to convince voters he deserves 3 straight, and while the Utah Jazz are having a record year, Donovan Mitchell's individual play and circumstance is not on the level of some of the top candidates. Although I do imagine that based on Utah's record alone, he'll be getting more looks as the year progresses. So those are the candidates and their cases around 30 games into the season. Who do you think is the MVP leader so far, and who do you think is going to end up winning it? Leave that in the comment section below, and after you're done, be sure to check out the podcast I did last week with the NBA Storyteller. It was the first time we ever linked to work on something, and I'm really happy with the discussion that went on there. Links to everything in the comment section and description. Also, hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications every time a new video drops. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.